Last year, I did something that completely terrified me. I quit my corporate banking job, left everything I knew behind, moved countries completely alone, and started building a business from scratch, whilst documenting the whole thing publicly here on YouTube. I am not kidding when I tell you I was drowning in fear. What if the business flops? What if I run out of money and have to move back home? What if my friends, my family, and strangers on the internet see me fail and judge me for it? What if I'm risking everything for nothing? There were so many moments where the fear and the self-doubt nearly sabotaged everything that I dreamed of. But after completely reshifting my mindset around failure, it completely changed everything. Since then, I've grown my audience, found deep fulfillment helping other creators grow, and little by little, I'm building the life that I used to only journal about, all because I learned to manage my fear of failure. If you're starting something new or feel paralyzed by fear, then this video is going to help rewire the way that you think and really help you move forward towards your goals and your dreams. One thing that really helped me is recognizing that there's actually no such thing as failure. A powerful way to reframe it in your mind is to say that you didn't fail, you learned. One of my favorite Connor Price lyrics is, "I don't make mistakes, the mistakes made me." And it's so true. You will learn faster, grow faster, and move faster towards your goals by executing and doing the thing over and over again and falling flat on your face again and again and again and iterating from those mistakes. Like, that's what's gonna actually get you farther down the line. Whereas like for me, when I was first starting my first business, for years and years before that, I was reading all of the business books. I was listening to all of the podcasts and watching videos of other entrepreneurs doing the thing, but not actually starting anything myself. And on one hand, like, I do recognize there's a lot of value in accumulating knowledge and learning from other people's experiences, but it's only gonna get you so far. To really propel yourself forward towards that goal, you actually need to apply the things that you've learned and the things that you've read, because otherwise it's just gonna collect dust in your brain and nothing is going to come into fruition. And what I realized too is that there's only so much that business books can teach you. It's only by being a warrior in the arena where you really understand the terrain. You'll encounter certain things that these business books couldn't have possibly warned you about, and you actually have to problem solve it. There were so many problems that I couldn't have anticipated, and really the value was in experiencing those issues, actually having to overcome them. That was where the true learning happened. I know now that whenever I face bottlenecks or problems in my business or with growing my channel, and when I actually overcome it and figure it out, I know that that's me growing as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a content creator. And so now whenever like something messes up or if I screw up, I don't view it as like a bad thing, as like a shameful failure that I need to be stressing over, but rather I try to frame it as, okay, there's something I'm supposed to learn here. What is that lesson and how am I going to take it forward to make my business better or make my content better? This next thing that really helped me is realizing that we're not actually afraid of failure itself, but rather being seen by others to be failing. For the longest time, I was really scared to be seen as trying because I thought it made me seem super cringe. But you know what's actually super cringe? Going through your whole life, not realizing your full potential, not going after what you want, not striving for anything worthwhile, all because you were afraid of what other people thought about you. And more often than not, it's people whose lives you don't even want. And by the way, this is an important side note, but you should only take into consideration the opinions of others whose lives you actually would like to live, who have achieved the things that you want to achieve. Otherwise, they really don't have anything of value to give you other than their opinion. Logically, why would I follow the same steps and adopt the same mindset and take the same actions as you and live the way that you live your life if you're not living the life of my dreams, if you're not where I want to be? It just doesn't make sense. And the harsh reality is, to begin with, no one cares about you. There's this thing in psychology called the spotlight effect, where we assume that there's some sort of a spotlight on us where, everyone's always like watching us and observing what we're doing and witnessing all of our mistakes and our failures. But really, people are just too busy worrying about themselves to even think about you. And even if they do think about you, maybe it's for just like a minute. And so you really got to ask yourself, like, are you going to really live a watered down life of mediocrity just because of 1 or 2 minutes of judgment from someone that you don't even look up to? Like, it doesn't make sense. I wanted to give an example with my own story. So if you guys are new here, just to give a bit of context first, I quit my corporate job in banking last year, and then I moved to Australia. I had all these fears in my head where, if I made this big deal about quitting my job and moving to Australia, and if by the end of this 1 year that I'm here, I don't make it, then people are gonna view me as a failure and they're gonna take pity on me and see me as cringy. But then I rationalize it with myself, like, okay, well, I can't exactly control what other people are thinking about me and what they're saying about me. So why would I put so much energy and time into stressing over something that I have completely no control over? The other thing is that, well, to begin with, no one gives a shit. And even if they do, they're probably thinking about me for like a minute at most. And so what does it matter? Is it really a big deal? Another thing about this journey is that you are going to be misunderstood. People aren't going to fully understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people think I'm crazy for quitting my banking job, for wanting to downgrade my life, for wanting to pursue this thing. And that's all part of it. Like, you gotta be okay with people not understanding and for judging you for what you're doing. But I'm confident in myself and my own trajectory, where I'm headed, what this path looks like. And that's the only thing that really matters. I know that building the life of my dreams and achieving time and financial freedom is not some get rich quick overnight success scheme. It's a really long game endeavor. 1 year in entrepreneurship is literally nothing. And one of my favorite quotes from Alex Ramosi is that your first 5 years in business are not where you get rich. It's where you get good. And I always have to remind myself of that. Right now, whenever I feel like a failure, I reframe it in my mind as, okay, this is my season of learning. This is the period of my life and my story where I'm getting good, where I'm growing into the person that I want to be. As opposed to like putting all this pressure on myself, like, okay, in this 1 year, like I need to see these specific results. I need to have achieved these specific outcomes. And that's really helped me a lot. My next point is that everything that you want out of life is usually on the other side of having that one uncomfortable conversation that you've been putting off, or those hundreds of rejections that you're avoiding, or those 100 failures that you fear so much, and just generally feeling like utter crap for a period of time. The guy that started Starbucks pitched to over 200 investors, and each and every one of them rejected him. But now Starbucks has become this global coffee empire. The sooner you go through those uncomfortable moments or those rejections or those failures, the faster you'll get to be where you want to be. Which brings me to my next point on building your failure resume. What if I told you that you were 25 failures away from your dream outcome? How fast would you want to go through those 25 failures? A large part of entrepreneurship and why people are so afraid of it is because there's so much uncertainty around it. We don't exactly know how many failures it's gonna take to get to the point to where we want to be. With business and even making content, like the aim of the game is to just keep going until you make it. And the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is that you only need to win once to make it big, but you have an unlimited amount of shots that you can take. And you can just keep playing and playing and playing the game until you get there. What I like to remind myself is that most entrepreneurs have a graveyard of failed businesses before they actually start the business that ultimately gives them financial freedom and gives them their dream life. And so this whole idea of building my failure resume has really helped me to reframe failure as like a positive thing that I want more of, because I know it's going to take me to my dream life faster, as opposed to this negative thing that I should avoid. The next thing that really helped me is recognizing that you gotta feel the fear and do it anyway. We often think that our heroes and the people that we admire are fearless, and that's probably why they were able to achieve the things that they have, but really this couldn't be farther from the truth. At the end of the day, they're still human beings and they still feel the same level of fear that we do, but the only only difference between us and them is that they felt fearful and still did the thing anyway. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know that Layla Hormozi is one of my biggest heroes. So she is a very successful entrepreneur. She's at a net worth of like 100 million or something like that. A whole string of entrepreneurial successes behind her. And someone had asked her on Instagram, like, you know, with all of these successes that you've achieved, this fear and anxiety and all these feelings of like self-doubt, like, do they just not get to you anymore, or do you like feel less of it? And she was like, to tell you the honest truth, those feelings never go away. No matter how successful you get, no matter how decorated you've become as an entrepreneur, no matter how many instances and pieces of evidence that you've given to yourself that, like, you know, I'm capable of achieving these things, like no matter what, like you will always feel fear, you will always feel self-doubt, you will always feel anxiety and resistance towards doing certain things. And what she said was that, you know, you just have to accept that this is part of the experience and you just learn to manage it better, but you can't completely eradicate it from your life. It just doesn't go away. And I think that helped me to breathe a sigh of relief. It's like, okay, well, you know, if someone like her is still feeling all these things, even at her level, then you know, it's completely normal that I'm feeling that way, and I should just learn at this point to get better at accepting those feelings, get better at managing them, and get better at taking action despite feeling those uncomfortable things. And that brings me to the final thing that's really helped me so much, and that's recognizing that failure is inevitable. That's allowed me to breathe this sigh of relief, because it's like, okay, well, if failure is going to happen regardless at some point, then I might as well learn how to manage it. Just accept it for what it is and just learn and grow from it, really, because that's all you can do. Trying to avoid failure is a silly endeavor that is a complete waste of mental bandwidth and energy. It's kind of like trying to avoid death. Like, yes, there are certain things that you can do to keep it at bay and to like prolong your life. At the end of the day, like, death is gonna come for us all at some point. And the same goes with failure. Like, you cannot live your whole life avoiding it. And also, if you did somehow miraculously manage to avoid failure somehow, like you managed to get to the end of your life not having failed once, then I think that in and of itself is the biggest failure, because what that means is that you never tried, you never strived for anything meaningful or worthwhile, you never chased big goals, and you never put yourself out there. And that to me is the ultimate failure. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that helped you. And if you want more content like this, I do have a newsletter where every week I will share things on entrepreneurship, personal growth, and everything to do with building a life of financial freedom. So if you're interested in that, then link is in the description below. Okay guys, take care and see you in the next video.